Well, I believe it is safe to say that things are really spiraling out of control with this coronavirus situation. One thing I forgot to talk about, I'll start with this, is they're actually starting to release people from that quarantined ship. So that can't be good. Because, I mean, we don't know who has coronavirus on that ship. I guarantee you there are people still on that ship who have coronavirus. And they're just letting them go because it's been a huge embarrassment for the Japanese government in the way they handled it. Their doctors, this doctor here, this guy from Japan, he heavily criticized. And NBC doesn't really go into detail all that he said. There's YouTube videos that he's posted, so I'll see if I can find those YouTube videos and provide a link in the description below. But he went on that cruise ship and he was just appalled at the way they were handling it. And that's why so many people got infected on that ship. There are 79 new confirmed cases for 621 total cases of coronavirus on that ship. And they started releasing people last week. Just saying, hey, all right, you're free to go. Because nobody showed a temperature for 2 weeks. That's how they're checking for coronavirus. They're checking for people who have a temperature. You can have coronavirus and not be showing a temperature. We know this already. And we know that 2 weeks is not a sufficient enough time to quarantine them. We know this as well. But somebody, I don't know who, somebody somewhere said that 2 weeks was sufficient, and then everybody just believed it, despite all the evidence to the contrary. And that's why this thing is so out of control now. I mean, and now they're releasing people from this cruise ship. I understand that the people on the cruise ship were not properly quarantined, and that's why everybody was getting sick. But get them off the cruise ship, yes, but don't just release them. Bring them into quarantine facilities on the shore where they can be properly managed. Oh man. I mean, 621 people. They had 79 new confirmed cases today. And they're like, man, we could probably let them off the ship. No. You're releasing coronavirus into the world. People have called it a floating petri dish or nicknamed it the plague ship. That ship was terrible. And there was a guy on that ship, an American. He said, I want to stay on the ship. I mean, the U.S. evacuated all the Americans from the cruise ship, which was the proper thing to do. But there was one American who's like, I want to stay on the ship. I feel better on the ship. No. It's the plague ship. It's an incubator for coronavirus. Don't stay there. Anyways. So, yeah, things are not good. Things are not looking good. And that's just the start of what's been going on lately. We have South Korea. Let's pull up the WHO report here. 43 new cases. This is a pandemic. Okay, this is a pandemic. It's broken out in South Korea. Okay, and this is just what we've confirmed, which means these people are just now showing symptoms, which means 2 or 3 weeks ago is when they got it. There was a case that they diagnosed like Wednesday or something, and they're like, well, maybe this one's a super spreader. But I mean, if she was the one who was getting the other sick, it would be another week or so before they were the ones showing symptoms. The fact that they're showing symptoms just a few days after they detected it in her indicates that she's not the one who gave it to them, right? They got it from someone else. And whoever gave it to these 43 people, these 72 new cases, that person, I don't even think they found them yet. They don't know who brought it in. Look, this is a pandemic at this point. Korea does not have this under control. I mean, I know they're doing everything they can, but they can't track all these people down. You know? They don't want to call it a pandemic because they're worried about causing panic. Look, you're not going to cause panic just by being honest. You know, people need to be aware of what's going on. If you ask me, don't travel to Korea. Don't go to Japan. Don't go to Singapore. Don't go to any of these Asian countries that have cases. Just stay home. You know, I mean, go to work and stuff, right? But stay in your home country. I mean, and that's how it's spreading, because international travel is just a constant thing. People are traveling internationally so much, you know, and which is a good thing for the economy and it's a good thing for the world. But it's terrible when you have a virus breaking out like this. So if you have international travel plans and it's to any of these countries with this coronavirus, I would suggest canceling them, but especially Japan or Korea. Stay away from those countries. Avoid them like the plague, because that's basically what's happening there. Technically, it's not the plague. It's a different type of plague. It's a coronavirus. So, yeah. Just be careful. Be smart. Have some supplies. You know, I know they keep trying to say, oh, you know, all these people on YouTube are exaggerating. No, we're not exaggerating, okay? We're just reading the numbers, and we're reading between the lines, and we're coming to conclusions that the media and the governments refuse to let us come to. You know, but you just got to be smart about this, right? I mean, look at the numbers. 43 new cases in Korea. We all knew this was going to break out because their containment procedures were insufficient, and it's happening, you know? 7 new cases in Japan. Singapore's still showing cases. I mean, these are just the ones they know about. Who else has it there? We don't know. You know, Japan, it's not contained in Japan. Let's look at the charts here. So, I already have it open. Okay, so yeah, Singapore it's doing its thing, right? And I'm still predicting there are a ton of people with coronavirus in Singapore right now. They just don't know it. And probably, again, I'm still making this prediction. Within the next week or two, they're gonna start to find these people, and this number is just gonna start to skyrocket, kind of like what it did in Korea. Look what was happening in Korea. They had like one case here, just a handful of cases. They were barely even registering, and then all of a sudden, boom, 18 new cases yesterday, 43 new cases today. This is getting out of control. Japan has consistently shown cases since we had this huge steep climb. Since then, Japan has consistently shown cases. So they've kind of turned to Singapore in this regard. So these 3 countries, Singapore, Japan, Korea, huge risk right now. Germany has still been flatlined. So I'm kind of, fingers crossed, I'm kind of optimistic for them. If it spreads in a UN nation, that's very bad for the world, right? Because the UN has open borders with all UN nations. So anyone in Germany or any UN nation, they can go to any other nation in the UN without border checks, just freely travel, and that is optimal for a virus. A virus loves those kind of conditions for spreading internationally. They love it. So, yeah. Fingers crossed it doesn't break out in Germany. It stays in Asia, but I mean, you know, considering the way things have been going, I don't know if that's going to be the case. So, yeah, keep your head up on this. Pay attention, because the media and the governments, they're not going to tell you the whole truth, right? You got to start reading between the lines to figure out what's going on here. Oh, and beyond that, it's a pandemic. I'm calling it a pandemic now. I know the governments and the media don't want to admit it's a pandemic. It's a pandemic. This is broken out in Korea. This is just what we know. Okay, this is just what we know. It's what we don't know that's really going to hurt us here. So, further news here, we have China demanding an apology from the Wall Street Journal. And so yesterday I posted that link to the Wall Street Journal where the Wall Street Journal was openly criticizing the government of China, saying mathematical models prove that they're lying about their numbers. And now they're demanding apology. This isn't actually in relation to the article I posted yesterday. This was something they wrote on February 3rd. So relations between Wall Street Journal and China have soured. But at least they're making an effort to challenge the narrative coming out from the Chinese government. Not enough media organizations are doing that. You know, we know they're lying. You know, don't believe the numbers. It said only 343 new cases in China. I wouldn't believe those numbers. You know, I would take them with a huge grain of salt. I would question them. I know China wants to convince people that it's going to be contained, but I don't know if we can just openly accept the numbers they're giving us. So be careful about getting too optimistic about the situation there. I mean, do I hope it gets contained? Yeah, but I don't know. So yeah, we have what happened here. China has revoked the press credentials of 3 journalists of the Wall Street Journal after the newspaper declined to apologize for a column with a headline calling China the real sick man of Asia. The foreign ministry said on Wednesday. Spokesman Geng Shuang said Beijing made stern representations to the paper over the February 3rd column, which China criticized as racist and denigrating its effort to combat a coronavirus epidemic. So unlike the World Health Organization, China isn't pandering, the Wall Street Journal is not pandering to China. Unlike the World Health Organization, who keeps coming out and saying, oh, China's doing a great job. They're doing a fantastic job containing this. It's like they're colluding almost. And this misinformation from the Wall Street Journal is literally getting people killed. They still hold to this assertion that the incubation period of this virus is 2 weeks, and that if you put someone in quarantine for 2 weeks and they don't show symptoms, that means they don't have coronavirus. Well, World Health Organization is still holding to that. And there are a lot of other, national organizations who look to the World Health Organization for this kind of guidance. But it's completely incorrect. And we've seen cases where people have gone 2 weeks without showing signs of a coronavirus, and then all of a sudden they have coronavirus, So 3 weeks minimum, if you ask me. 3 weeks minimum, people should be quarantined. But I don't know. It's almost like they want it to break out. I don't know if it's incompetence or just blatant lies. I can't tell. So, anyways, and China's all bent out of shape. China's upset because Wall Street Journal is based in America and they don't have government control. They can't shut down the Wall Street Journal and black them out and, arrest all the people from there. And so they're fuming that Wall Street Journal continues to post negative information about them because they're used to having complete control over the media and they can't control the American media, which is why I feel like more U.S. news outlets need to step up and start telling the truth about what's going on instead of just repeating the talking points provided by the incompetent WHO and the Chinese government, So, I think the World Health Organization could have done more. More specifically, could have found more accurate information more quickly and distributed that information to local governments so that they could have had been more prepared to contain this. So at this point, it's too late. It's a pandemic. Okay, that lady from Cambodia who flew internationally, we still don't know who she infected. We're still waiting to figure out. We're still waiting to see the consequences of that. And that cruise ship was relying on misinformation they were given by organizations who are supposed to provide correct information. So I know the tone of this video is a little more harsh than my previous videos, but I mean, just looking at what's happening, I don't have anything nice to say about China or the World Health Organization, about those who have failed humanity so horribly, when they were the ones responsible for taking control of this situation. They let it spiral out of control. I don't know. Everybody has their own motives, but when you literally throw the rest of humanity under the bus because of, your corrupt motive, there's a problem. I don't care what your motive is. Look at what you just did. Because I just cannot believe they don't know that the 2-week incubation period is wrong. They have to have people smart enough to figure that out. So I'm going to end my rant there. Just leave it at that. Thanks for watching.